Hey everybody, today we got the Draka axe from Mage of Rune. We're taking Draka's axe off the tabletop. We're going to forge it into a life-size weapon from the world of Rune. At this stage, it was just a raw 3D print and a blank wooden handle. The first real paint step was a heavy dry brush of Eshin Grey, bringing out all the raised edges and giving the axe head that rough, worn metal texture. After that, I did a lighter dry brush with Warpaints Ash Grey. Then I added a final edge highlight with Pallid witch flesh. Moving on to the blade, I started with Leadbelcher to give the cutting edge a solid metallic base. Then I covered the blade with Nuln Oil, letting it settle into the details and darken the metal so the highlights and molten colors are going to stand out a lot more later. Once the wash was dry, I hit the blade edges with Stormhost silver to make the sharpest parts catch the light and give the axe a cleaner, brighter edge. And now it was time to start the molten glow. I began with white scar in the hottest areas because the brightest parts of the axe need to feel almost white hot. And then, more white scar. This axe is huge, so apparently a little bit of white hot glow actually means painting white into every crack until you start questioning your life choices. Finally, with the white nice and bright, I moved into crone red, starting to build that deep molten heat around the glow. And from there, I layered in Eagle Sun Scarlet, pushing the red brighter and starting to make the molten sections feel like they're heating up from the inside. Next, I moved into Wild Rider Red, adding a brighter edge to the glow and helping the heat transition from deeper red into orange. Then I brought in Troll Slayer Orange, which is where the molten effects really starts to come alive and feel like the axe is burning through the metal. After that, I added Fire Dragon Bright, pushing the glow even hotter and giving the molten cracks that bright orange fire at the center. Then I moved into Uriel Yellow, adding it right near the brightest parts of the glow to make the heat feel even more intense. And then I came back in with White Scar one more time, adding those final white hot pops right in the center of the glow to make the molten effects really hit. And finally, to tie the whole glow together, I used Fugan Orange, glazing it over the molten areas so the colors blended together and gave the axe that hot, fiery glow. For the handle, I wrapped the axe in red hockey tape, and then I dry brushed it with abandoned black. I crumpled up the ribbons and then dry brushed them with the abandoned black so that they look more worn than if they were uncrinkled, if that makes any sense. And once the handle was finished, I sealed the whole axe with a few coats of Vallejo Mecha Color matte varnish to protect it, and then I came back over the molten areas with Citadel Ard Coat so the glow had that glossy, almost glassy heat effect while the rest of the axe stayed matte. And that's how Draka's axe went from tabletop miniature to life-size reality. The entire paint job took around 16 hours, but seeing it finished, watching people hold it at GameCon Canada made it completely worth it. Mage of Rune is heading towards Kickstarter, and if you want to be there when it launches, you can join the launch list at mageofrune.com. And if you want to follow along as I keep bringing more of this world to life, then make sure to subscribe.